Hello, and welcome to Healing from the Mess with Lizzie. In this podcast, I will be sharing stories about my childhood, my teenage years, early adulthood, even my life now. It won't be a smooth conversation or even in chronological order, but I hope you will stick with me while I start to heal from the trauma that was caused in my life by a mother who forgot how to love me. On this episode, I will be talking about recent events with my mother and about the upcoming holidays. So, let's talk. Good morning. We have a lot to talk about today. There's some recent events that I would like to update you on. So, Sunday, I decided to relax with the family and go offline for the day. Didn't tell anybody, if they need to get hold of me, they know how to call and text me, so it's not like I need to be available. And 6 hours went by between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m., and my husband gets a text from my mother asking if I'm okay. So at that point, I respond because I don't like when she involves other people. And I said that I'm relaxing. I decided to stay offline today. That was the gist of it. She likes to make it look like she's worried. I don't know if I should believe it or not. I don't know if she's really worried, if she actually cares, or if she just doesn't like that she can't just drive by my house and stop in and check on me. I don't know what it is. I do not like feeling like I can't be offline. She has my phone number. She can text me. She could call me. I'm sorry, I don't want to be online right now. I wanted to spend a day with my family without thinking about anything. I mean, we literally laid down and watched Mockingjay 1 and 2 from the Hunger Games series because we hadn't seen it before and it was available on Roku. I shouldn't have to make a status saying going offline for the day or even have to tell her that, right? Like, am I wrong? And then last night, all these things went through my head. But first, let's talk about Christmas, okay? So I get into this in the next episode you'll hear, but financially it's been rough. And she has asked me 3 times in a row if we should get together for Christmas. Do you want to come down here? Do you want us to come up there? And it's like, what us? Because you're divorcing your husband. Don't use him to see me because that's ridiculous. Like, he wants to come up and see the kids, but that should be, I feel like now it should be a separate conversation because this is not an that word, amicable divorce, because he wants it to work out. She is done, right? So, it's do what you can to make me happy, and maybe I won't sign the papers, but we all know she's going to. Anyway, she keeps asking me, and then she's like, well, maybe instead of on Christmas, maybe January 1st. And I finally responded with, I'm not sure. Financially, it doesn't seem plausible right now. Because what else am I supposed to say? I also put her on the restricted list on my messenger because I cannot talk to her right now. It's so hard for me to say no. It's so hard for me to not give up too much information. I didn't want to say, well, we are financially struggling. It's like, I don't want to go into detail with her. She doesn't need to know all this information. I'm just tired of getting the same question. If I don't answer your question, it's probably because I don't have an answer or you're not going to like it. That's it. I have a really hard time responding. And I think it's just the way I am when it comes to her. If I can't make her happy, if I can't say what she wants to hear, then I'm afraid of the backlash, right? And it's funny because I have no reason any reason to be afraid now because I'm not close enough to her where she can attack me. Verbally, sure, go ahead, but most likely she's just going to say things to other family members and to her friends and talk crap about me. And I don't really care about other people's opinions about me. I don't care about my reputation. I know who I am. Um, and I know that I don't want to lie to her. That's one thing that I remember hearing when when I was listening to podcasts about when you need to deal with a narcissist or when you need to walk away from a family member or a person in your life, that you are honest. You are honest. You do not lie. So, me saying financially it doesn't seem plausible right now is not a lie. It is the truth without giving away too much information. I can hear how angry she is in my head. Well, you drove all the way down here for your best friend's birthday and you saw one of your other friends the weekend after. So it's your fault you don't have any money to come up for Christmas. Okay. But also, hotels are more expensive during the holidays. Why wouldn't I wait until January? Would I like to come up during winter break? Absolutely. I would love that. I really would. But it's not financially possible. And I know I'm letting people down and I hate that. I do. I hate that. But I have to make sure I'm taking care of my family, of myself, of our situation. And by January, things should be looking better and I can actually make sure we can get a hotel with our kids and it'll be okay and be able to even, board my dogs because I can't right now. I have to make sure they get shots and they have, all these necessary things before they can be boarded. So, or else it's going to be me coming down and then my husband coming down and then like, that's what's going to happen. So I don't know what to do. And I'm trying to do what I can to make sure I can make the holidays happen even if it's after the holidays. I don't think it should be that important. Like, oh, well, if it's not in Christmas, then don't bother. I feel like that is not fair. I feel like that's really unfair to put on me. I don't think anyone's doing that, but it's how I feel. I feel that pressure, and I'm doing what I can to not let it affect me that way because the people who care about me know that I will make sure I see them even if I can't see them when it would be the most convenient. On to the next thing, which I'm not going to get into full blown details about because it's not my story to tell, but I'm trying to figure out some things about her past, my mom. And I was tossing and turning last night because these thoughts kept running through my head, and I still have a lot more digging to do before I have answers. It really sucks right now to have all these questions, and it makes me sad because I don't like lying. I don't, and I don't like when people lie to me. So why she would lie about certain things, I understand as trying to portray herself as someone she wanted me to be, but at the same time, I wish she was just honest with me because I don't judge anybody, okay? I don't who I am now, where I am now, there is no judgment. It's like who you were in your past doesn't have to be who you are now. I'm not going to judge you on your past. All of us have made mistakes. All of us have done something we regret. Maybe multiple things. It's part of growing. It's part of life. You have to make mistakes in order to learn from them, right? Sometimes it takes us 15,000 mistakes to figure it out. Oh, probably shouldn't do that anymore. But it's okay. We all grow. We all learn at our own pace. Judgment. This is a judgment-free zone. I am a judgment-free zone. And the one thing I tell my friends is I may not agree with your choices, but I will always be here to support you. That's my job. As a sister, as a daughter, and as a friend, and as a wife, and as a mother. I don't have to like your choices, but I will support you. no matter what. Anyway, you can find me on Facebook at Lizzie Max. That's capital Macs. You can find me on Instagram at Healing from the Mess PC. And I hope that I hear from you soon. I hope you enjoyed this episode. So, small update. She messaged me back and said, "Is it gas money? I know money is tight, but it's so important for us to get together. I can't drive 2.5 hours to spend 2.5 hours with her to drive home. Because if I'm going to come down there, I'm going to see my best friend because my kids miss her. And I'm going to see my mother in law because my kids miss her and we miss her. I'm going to want to see more than just her." Sorry, I'm crying right now because I'm so frustrated at her making me feel like, well, I'm important. I miss us. I'm important. And it's like, you did this in the sense of the reason why we're not close anymore is because of the decisions that she's made in the past 6 months. And I'm not going to drive 2.5 hours just to stay 2.5 hours and leave. I am a big believer in quality time, not quantity. I'm not going to drive 2.5 hours, spend 2.5 hours with her, spend 2.5 hours with my best friend, spend 2.5 hours with my mother in law, and then drive 2.5 hours back home. I want to be able to spend 2.5 hours with my mom one day, spend 2.5 hours with my best friend, and spend the next day spend 2.5 hours with my mother in law. That's what I want to do. Because if I run over the 2.5 hours, I run over that 2.5 hours. It's fine. I have a place to stay. We can sleep. It's fine. It's no big deal. Stop making it about you. I restricted her on my Facebook. I restricted her on my Messenger because I need time to think right now because all I want to do is scream at her. And the one who's going to suffer is my children, and I refuse to let that happen. Let them have their Christmas with you. Let them have this final holiday because after this, I don't know if we're going to have any more with her. I don't want to have to cut it off right now, but if I have to, I will. It's not fair to my children. They deserve better than her. And frankly, so do I. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for listening. And I hope you will join me next week for another episode of Healing from the Mess with me, Lizzie.